We're calling it My Graduate School Experience, and it is an overview of the UC Berkeley Online Masters in Public Health program combined with a Q&A with some of our current student ambassadors. Awesome. And my name is Elise Rudolph. I'm the Director of Online Recruitment and Admissions with the Online MPH program. And I'm joined by my incredible colleague, Stephanie Nguyen. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Stephanie Nguyen. My pronouns are she, her, and Elise and I make up the admissions team. So we are excited to walk through the program with you and provide any assistance that we can regarding the application process and just learning more about the program. So thank you for joining us.
Wonderful. And then we have three wonderful guests on the call. So thank you so much, Tawana, Mackenzie, and Marcella, for joining us. We're very excited to have you each on and to share more about your experiences. I am going to intro each of you and read your bios just so that the audience can get a sense of who you are. But then as I do that, I'll invite you to also just kind of, introduce yourself and say hello to everyone. So I'll dive in with Dr. Gross. So Dr. Tawana Gross is a dentist, entrepreneur, and public health advocate committed to advancing health equity. After earning her BS in mathematics from Hampton University and Doctor of Dental Medicine from Temple University as a National Health Service Corps scholar, she began her career serving underserved communities across South Carolina. She later founded Precision Dental, where she integrates family and cosmetic dentistry with a focus on access to care for Medicaid recipients and uninsured patients. Dr. Gross has developed pipeline programs for minority students, mentors future dental professionals, and collaborates with coalitions to address oral health disparities. She is currently pursuing a Master's of Public Health in Epidemiology and Biostatistics at UC Berkeley with the goal of bridging clinical practice, research, and public health leadership. So thank you, Dr. Gross, for joining us and being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to be with everyone tonight.
Wonderful. So the next ambassador I'll intro is Mackenzie Safon. So Mackenzie is the proud daughter of Lumaine refugees and was raised in California's Central Valley, where she developed a deep commitment to advancing health equity in rural and underserved communities. She currently serves as the Assistant Clinical Research Coordinator with UCSF's Fresno Mobile Heal program, a mobile clinic dedicated to reaching farm worker families, rural communities, and other vulnerable populations to provide free health services across Fresno County. She plans to pursue a career as a physician to continue serving and advocating for the Central Valley. As a first-year Master's of Public Health student at UC Berkeley, Mackenzie is pursuing a concentration in health policy and management while serving as a Rural Health Innovation Scholar and Policy Fellow. These experiences allow her to bridge her frontline work in mobile health with statewide and national conversations on health policy. Her passion lies in shaping sustainable, community-driven solutions that expand access to care for those who need it most. As a proud Golden Bear, yay, she looks forward to supporting future public health leaders and helping them find their place at Berkeley. Awesome.
Thank you so much, everyone. Looking forward to spending this evening with you all and answering any questions you might have.
Wonderful. And last but certainly not least, Marcella. And so Marcella is a second-year MPH candidate in the OOMPH program. That's us, the online MPH. She is an interdisciplinary concentration who plans to pursue residency in dental public health. She holds a degree in dentistry and orthodontics from Universidad Nacional Autónoma in Nicaragua. So please correct me if I pronounced any of that incorrectly. Marcella is passionate about building bridges across systems by connecting communities, organizations, and policy to create more just and inclusive pathways for underrepresented communities. With a dual background in clinical and non-clinical healthcare, Marcella brings experience addressing social determinants of health through community engagement, cultural responsive care, and advocacy that strengthens systems of care. Furthermore, she is especially committed to advancing equitable health opportunities by fostering inclusive partnerships and championing education as a key social determinant of health. She is passionate about advancing the integration of oral health into primary care for underrepresented communities, guided by a public health vision and grounded in culturally resonant practices that especially honor the lived experiences of minority groups, such as Latinx and Hispanic communities. Moreover, she serves as a graduate research assistant at the Center for Critical Study of the Health of Latinx Communities and serves as a member and advisory board member at Berkeley Student Leadership Academy. Additionally, Marcella tutors English for speakers of other languages, students at Laney College to support students whose experiences mirror her own. Outside of her academic and community work, Marcella enjoys hiking, spending time outdoors, and practicing Zumba. So thank you, Marcella.
Thank you so much, Elise, for the introduction, and I am very excited to be here and share space with all of you.
Awesome. Well, we're really appreciative that the three of you are joining us and are willing to share more about your experiences in the program. We're excited to hear more from you. So we'll go over to our agenda and we'll dive into some of the content. All right, so in our formal presentation portion of this session, we're going to cover the online MPH mission, vision, and values. We'll talk about why Berkeley, what makes our program special, and then we'll dive into the moderated panel, and we'll close out with some details about the admissions timeline and how to get in touch with us. And as I mentioned, we will make time for Q&A as well because we want to ensure that we're getting your questions answered. All right. So our mission at the online MPH program is healthy people locally and globally. I've done a lot of reading, so I won't read this slide out to you, but something I like to share in this in regard to our mission is that UC Berkeley offering a master's in public health degree in an online modality is very much a vision, mission aligned choice. We really believe that folks shouldn't have to relocate to the Bay Area in order to have access to this top tier education. We want folks to be applying the learning that they're doing in the classroom into the workplace. So we've really designed this to be built for working professionals. You can make an impact in real time while you're doing this program. So, offering it online is something we think is important to increasing access and to public health education. And we believe that your network, the community, you staying in the community that you're already a part of, is really important and valuable to the classroom experience as well. Our values are service and community, showing up with authenticity, growth rooted in justice and equity, cultivating connection through learning, and centering wellness. There's a lot to dig into in these, of course, but I'll just kind of focus on the last one, centering wellness. I think something that our program does well is recognizing that all of our students are often working professionals. They're balancing other responsibilities outside of school and work often. It might be caregiving responsibilities. And so we really do try to make this program flexible and work with you and your schedule and your specific goals. All right, so why Berkeley? What makes us unique? So there are definitely a lot of masters in public health programs. You may be familiar with Berkeley already, but if not, I think one of the things we're known for is our academic rigor. Our online MPH program is taught by the same faculty who teach in our on-campus Masters in Public Health program. So you're really getting that top tier Berkeley education experience in this program. We really aim to support students' professional development. We have a department called RISE, and they are essentially your career and practicum advisors. So we try to spend time focusing on professional development, how you can leverage this degree to achieve the professional goals that you have. Access to Bay Area innovation. So even if you're not located here in the Bay Area, We are so well connected to, whether it be the healthcare, the biotech, the pharma industries, like all of these different things that are based here in the Bay Area or have large presences here in the Bay Area. We're able to kind of draw on that expertise. It might be bringing in folks to lecture in different classrooms, or they might be guest speakers at the summer visit. So we really try to tap into that expertise that's here in the Bay. A collaborative cohort-based learning. We can certainly answer more questions about this, but we try to make this, a very community-oriented experience, despite it being online. We try to facilitate opportunities for you to engage with your other cohort members. We have a summer visit where we bring all of the online students to campus and foster connection that way. So I think that's definitely something special about our program. Real world impact. I touched on this already, but we value the fact that you are working, you're bringing your own lived experiences in, and inversely, you're able to take what you're learning in the classroom and apply it in a real world setting. And then flexible learning. So I also mentioned this, but we are definitely geared toward making this program work for you. And I think that's something not every program does. We have a very real staff. Like, we are a homegrown UC Berkeley program. All of the staff and faculty are UC Berkeley faculty. We want to get to know you. We want to understand your personal experiences and guide you in how to make the program serve you best. So I think that's something unique about us here at Berkeley.
Thank you. As we shift over, this is actually a perfect segue for us to get into the questions with our amazing students. And we're going to give you some unfiltered responses, but by all means, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we'll get to it at the end. Awesome. So I'll kick off the first question here. And can you take us through your journey to the Berkeley Online MPH program? Where you started, what made you apply, and what changed for you since the beginning of the program? And Tawana, we'll start with you.
Okay. So I'm actually living in Greenville, South Carolina. So I feel like I fit one of those perfect students where showing how you have several students from different time zones. So what made me start my journey and how I got to Berkeley was as a dentist, I wanted to be able to get into the public health sector. I have been doing things in my job more at a small scale, and I wanted to be able to help people more. So I looked at online programs, one in my state, and also some more, I would say more rigorous than the one that was in my state. And of course, Berkeley stood out as one of the top online programs. I knew that I had to do online because I work full time. I'm not able to, you know, not work. I have to be working. So when I did the application process, I was looking at the concentrations a lot. Um, I knew at first I thought I wanted to do the public policy, but I was able to um, I started with the public policy. I did move later into the biostats, but when I was doing the application process, like I said, I felt I actually met Stephanie when I when I first was applying because I had a lot of questions. So I felt I could feel that it was more personable. Um, I actually was able to take advantage of the time difference because it's a 3 hour time difference. It's 8:45 here. And I just all the pieces fit together. Everyone was excited. There was the Rural Health Initiative that they had just begun. So it just was the perfect fit. with the classes being asynchronous, but there were opportunities where I would be able to meet the other students and also interact a lot with the faculty. I know you may get to this part, but even though it's online, it doesn't feel like it's online. So that was the thing. I chose out of state because I thought I would be able to get a better education and just better opportunities. And I will say, I really love my choice. One more semester down. I'm sure there'll be another question where I can explain more. But yeah, it was, it just made sense.
So for myself, I knew that I always wanted to be a physician, not always, but once I had realized that I wanted to be a physician, it required a lot of different changes in terms of what I was going to do and pursue. So peak of COVID, I actually started volunteering at the clinic that I currently work for, UCSF Resident Mobile Heal. And at that time, we were only doing a mass vaccination and testing site. And we we're actually the largest in the region, the Central Valley region at that time, doing almost 1,000 vaccines per day. There was also a point where we were doing vaccines, testing, and treatment all simultaneously while running our mobile events. And from there, we transitioned back into mobile heals. So we went back to primary care and in serving the community that we do, we're very diverse. I started to realize that there were a lot more factors that were impacting our patients' health and their outcomes. And of course, social determinants of health, public health. It started to plant that seed of, okay, what else could I learn and better equip myself with to become a better physician when I do become one? So I started looking into masters in public health programs, or I started thinking about public health. We work very closely with the Fresno County Department of Public Health as well. So just hearing bits and pieces, meetings with them, public health was slowly being sprinkled into my work and what I know. And then from there, I slowly started watering that seed and thinking, okay, public health seems pretty important. What can I really utilize this for? And I probably sat on the idea of going back to school and doing a master's for about a year. Then I went to a conference at Stanford for pre-medical students. And I happened to go to one of their seminars about why you should pursue public health, and how you can benefit from it as someone who wants to be a physician. And the two speakers, actually three speakers, all happened to be masters in public health students, and some of the PhD students from Berkeley. So I felt like that was all just one big old fat sigh with my face. But everything that they said essentially was a confirmation that I needed, that going into public health, learning about social determinants of health, learning about how environment and other things can impact a person's health outcomes, I realized that that's what I wanted to do, what I needed to be a better physician. It wasn't just about treating a patient and seeing the patient, the whatever symptoms they present with. It was about looking at the factors outside of the four walls of a clinic or a hospital room. So from there, I looked extensively into online programs. So I knew that I didn't want to stop working at the clinic that I currently am at. It, essentially helped set the foundation. So there was no way that I was willing to give that up. So I started looking up and down online, Google, you name it, for different online MPH programs. I had a whole Google spreadsheet of them all, of their stats of what are required, and I was meeting with a lot of their online recruitment ambassadors as well. And so then that led to me having a meeting with Stephanie, and everything that I just told all of you is basically what I laid out to Stephanie. And she essentially just confirmed, this would be a really good program for you. This would be a fit. She answered every single question that I had. And, from there, the rest is history. I really felt like my values and what I wanted from an online MPH program, Berkeley had it all. So I submitted my application. Now here we are, and I get to talk to all of you about it.
Thank you for that. And with each of you, I always remember our calls, and I hope for those in the audience that you'll have an opportunity to connect with me as well. Would really love to, speak a little further about that. And Marcelo, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Well, so I will agree with my colleagues with Mackenzie and Tawana that the first thing that came to my mind about Cal is just because it's a very one of the top universities in the country and globally. So, but actually, let me just go back in time for a little bit more. I am a dentist from Nicaragua and I did a residency in orthodontics. So then I moved to Cali and then I worked as a dental assistant for quite some time. Then I ended up attending community college and went back to school, became a tutor, and supported students like myself who are ESOL, English speaker, learning English, and support them in the process of adapting to the academic environment here in the US. So then it turned out that my call for public health went back when I was doing dentistry in my country. And I was working with an interdisciplinary team of doctors and other specialties, oral surgeons and speech pathologists. So treating these patients with congenital conditions was an eye-opening, and it was so hard to see how it takes just one action to change someone's lives. Like a large number of those conditions could have been prevented through public health, through education, through health literacy. And it was really sad to see all these surgeries and the process that those kids, those patients have to go through. So that was my first goal. But I didn't think I was going to end up at that time in public health. So then moving here and being in community college and being with students who we share identities, we share uh, somehow the same journey of adapting to a new country, the process of acculturation. So then I thought, wow, what if I combine public health, dentistry? So yeah, I did a search and met with Stephanie several times. And yeah, I got this call for public health. And what I knew at that moment was that I wanted to be part of an institution that excel and that was a good return on investment. And not only that, but what really stood out to me was the culture, the university culture, and also that I wanted to be in a place that not only supported my professional and technical skills, but also my human skills. So that was perfect. So I attended workshops in other universities, but it just didn't feel like Cal. This really felt like a community, like a close-knit community. And Stephanie and Alisa, they do a wonderful job to being so welcoming and always being there supporting through the journey of the application. So that was really amazing. And then one last thing that I would like to share with all of you, with prospective students, is that UC Berkeley is consistently recognized as a global leader in innovation and entrepreneurship. So I say this humbly because I never thought of myself as an innovator or an entrepreneur. But being a Cal changed that. So because of all the resources, spaces, and opportunities that give students like myself, and the tools and mentorship. So I think that's a really great like applause that encourages students to turn ideas into action and do like highly impactful public health interventions.
And this question kind of piggybacks on what you've shared, but what was your biggest hesitation about choosing an online MPH program? And how has your experience compared to that expectation?
Well, thank you for asking that, Stephanie. So my hesitation was like not being able to fully engage with the community at Cal, to interact, to I was concerned about missing that opportunity to enjoy and dynamically interact with my peers, faculty, staff, and getting to know people, especially because of the nature of this public health. But fortunately, my experience has been far better than my concerns or expectations. So basically, that's that because it's a really, I have had the chance, and as my colleagues have mentioned, like really, despite being an online, mostly online program, there are several activities that make us feel very engaged and allowed us to learn and to meet our colleagues, not just superficially, but really go into details in depth during the online discussions, all the group and several team group and projects that we are assigned. And yeah, to the point that I have really made friends and stay in touch with, for example, with Mackenzie also online, and meeting in person with some of my colleagues that I have met through the program and become friends. So it's really interesting, all the interdisciplinary um, nature of the program, how it bring us together, and despite working in different maybe concentrations, but we share that mission, so it feels really very well connected. So I love that.
And then Taiwana?
So, I'm okay with sharing, but I'm in my early 40s, and it had been 20 years since I had been in school. So, that was actually why I called Stephanie, because I was like, is this program for someone like me? Like, I wasn't sure, really how well I was going to do in school, period. And I'm thinking, oh, you're going to do online where, you're not going in and physical, you have your physical meetings with your professors and your interactions with the students. So I was very concerned about that. I wasn't sure how I was gonna be able to adapt with all the new technology and different things. So because I had never done any class online. I had been introduced with Zoom through COVID and meetings and things like that, but I was just like I was very hesitant about how it was going to work. But then I was reassured, and I mean, of course, in my cohort, there's people from all different walks of life, all different ages, all different backgrounds, and I mean, there's people in Africa. So I was like, okay, I was reassured that no, this is actually for people who are, have had some experience in different things like that. So, um, I I said, well, okay, we'll see how it goes. But I was pleasantly surprised. Again, I want to just reiterate the platform itself to me. I felt that it's it's very I'm not the best at technology, but it was very easy for like someone like me to be able to come in and like learn the systems. I really appreciate it before most courses, there's like a week zero where they'll go through the course itself, the syllabus, any questions you will have. I had 1,000 questions. They answered them all. But yeah, I just and like the longer I've been through, I feel like it just got easier and easier. But I will say for anybody who's doubting and like, oh, maybe, I've been out of this too long, I took probability and statistics like, I don't know, like me 20 years ago. I don't remember that stuff, it it is a lot of support, um, not just with the professors. There's uh, student teachers that are helping along the way, and also with your classmates. And I, again, I was pleasantly surprised just how much interaction that Marcella mentioned that you actually have with classmates and you're doing something online. That is one of the reasons why I chose Berkeley. And I have gained, not just classmates and cohort members. I've definitely gained friends through this experience because of it.
Some of my reservations, I'll admit there weren't too many. Going into this, I knew I wanted to do an online program again because I wanted to continue working. So I think a lot of my reservations were to do with, building connections, as both Marcella and Tijuana mentioned, um, pacing with an online course, sometimes they can go really fast, and then balancing work and having a course just go by in the blink of an eye, that kind of worried me. And I think one of the biggest ones was accountability. You're not going to a class every day. You don't have to log into a session at a specific time, every single day. So that is what worried me. I going into this program, I wanted to succeed, and sometimes accountability can get really hard when you're working full time. There's other life factors that might get in the way, and at the end of the day, you have homework or an assignment or some type of thing that you have to do. So that is something that really worried me. But I think going through that, talking through all of that with Stephanie, and then once I officially started the program, um, just piggybacking off of what they both said, there was so much support in this. I love the week zero. They call it week zero intro sessions that they do. So this is your time to meet with the instructors of the course, ask any questions. They'll go through everything. Those are some of my favorite. I already started getting some of the notifications for this coming semester, and I was like, oh, perfect, it's on my calendar. And then, during the academic year, everything is essentially laid out. So that was really helpful for myself as someone who likes to plan ahead. I use my Google Calendar a lot. That helped me with accountability. I would plug in every time I had an assignment due, every time I had a test, and I would even work it with how my schedule already was. So if I had work that day, I would say, okay, I'm going to work on homework or my deliverables and my assignments on this day. I'm going to study on this day. I'm going to review this on this day. So everything's already laid out for you. And I really, really appreciated that. So that helped me a lot with pace and accountability. Connections, as I both mentioned, you become really, really close with your cohort members. They're really good. The instructors are really good at forming groups for these classes. They're either study groups or groups that you'll work with together. And from my experience, everyone has done a really good job at least doing a weekly meeting just to make sure we're all on the same page, creating text threads so that we can stay in communication. Um, and especially after that first visit, in-person visit at Berkeley, that really changes the dynamic of things. And everyone after that will become your best friend. You're adding each other on social media. If you live within the same area, you're meeting up with each other for coffee. You're trying to plan the second year visit around each other's schedules to make sure you all go during the same time. It's very life-changing, even during that first week. Again, this is a very unfiltered one. A lot of us would go out for drinks after the sessions together. Some of us went to go grab dinner and go karaoke together. And from then, we're just always constantly checking in. So I think all of the reservations that I had when first coming into this program almost immediately diminished. And this is one of the best decisions I made.
Thank you so much. Just taking me down memory lane of the visits and all that. And then the next question I have is, what was your first term like, and what surprised you the most academically or personally? And I know we touched upon this in the call, so feel free to keep it brief for the sake of time.
Well, I think I mentioned this briefly. I started with the concentration with what was it? I'm in biostats now. What's the um health management? That's the one that I started with. It's funny because it's such a distance now. But I just knew I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be an advocate for dentistry and I want to be able to do this, that, and whatever. So the first course that I took in the spring was one of them was a biostat, not biostats, it was an epidemiology course. And I really didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be math and science, but I just really didn't expect for me to like it that much. But my background is mathematics, and clearly I like science. But it was a very big introduction for me. So I would say it's not usually like where everybody's like, yay, I just love epidemiology. But me, I'm like, yay, I love this. I want to do more. So after that semester, actually, I changed my concentration. I did meet with some advisors and everything. I actually met with the professor of the class because Dr. Kofer, he's has a medical degree and he has his PhD in epidemiology. Just kind of wanted to see what made him do what he did, and it was great. So I don't regret it at all. I love it. I still love it from since the beginning, but that was very surprising to me. I don't know how Mackenzie and Marcella feel about this, but I was kind of surprised just um, how in depth they were with, the curriculum itself. So not to scare anyone, I feel like if you are accepted, you certainly, like, if you meet the requirements and you get in, you won't have any problem. There are though courses and stuff that they have to help if you feel like you need a little bit of help. Like, if, like, for myself, had it been a long time since I had seen like probability, but I was very impressed with just how I didn't feel like we were being um baby fed the material. And it only took maybe a semester or two, and I felt like I was able to talk the talk like other public health experts and different things like that. And of course, I don't feel like I'm necessarily an expert just yet, but you learn a lot very quickly. So yeah, that was my first year experience, and then it led into the summer visit. So very much what Mackenzie said. I had the opportunity, like I said, to do one semester, then go into the summer visit, which was just, it was great. It was great. It was a learning, but it was a lot of connections and different things like that.
Wonderful. Mackenzie, would love to hear from you.
Actually, thank you for that. That is exactly what kind of caught me off guard. I think it was definitely the depth. Going into it, I thought I already had an idea of public health and some of the things that you would learn, but that first semester, just seeing the depth that a lot of our instructors would go into, but also the passion, it not just from our instructors, but also from those within our classes. So our fellow colleagues, just the passion that everyone had for public health and creating more equitable spaces within these sectors. That is one thing that I really, really appreciated. It definitely felt like a safe space in the midst of a lot of different things that my clinic has been going through. It felt like a really safe outlet for me to, just talk about these things, work through with my colleagues and instructors, some of the things that I was going through personally with my work and the clinic that I help operate. I was able to talk to them and get some ideas to bring back to the table when working with our public health officers or medical directors. So that was one thing that was very much a surprise. I think I knew that there would be a lot of depth and support and a lot of things to learn, but just blew me out of the water.
Thank you. And Marcella, would love to hear from you.
Yeah, so let me tell you this is straightforward. To me, it was challenging, it was intense, and it was very fast-paced. So I remember that semester I took epidemiology, introduction to epidemiology, and the other one was health and social behavior. I love health and social behavior because it really immersed me in what I was looking for, like the social determinants of health and how we can intervene and learn all the different levels of intervention. On the other hand, EPI was very challenging. However, actually, I even really thought about, oh my God, I don't think I can make it to finish EPI, to complete it. Maybe I need to drop it. But what really, and that's when I was like, oh my God, I'm in the right place. I felt the support. I reach out. Oh, let me tell you, communication is key. To always feel for our prospective colleagues and students who are going to apply. So have an open communication, be always very sincere, reach out, do not wait until the last minute, and always reach out because you're going to find understanding, support, and flexibility as long as you do your work. So yeah, that's what I did. I attended all the office hours in that class. The actually I also I know that also some of my colleagues, because of their time difference and work responsibilities, they also asked for outside of the office hours help, and it was possible. So what I said is like do always reach out and have a effective communication with your instructors and with the tutors available to support you. So that was my experience, challenging. I made it, and it was quite rewarding.
I love this. We want the unfiltered responses. Um, I have so much more questions, but we also want to be respectful of the audience to give them a space. So I'm going to skip through some of the questions that we have here, but or go out of order, I should say. Um, what advice would you give someone that's worried they're too busy or not academic enough to succeed? And then we'll start with Tawana and love to hear from you.
I'll start with the if you think you're too busy. I'm laughing at myself because I thought I thought this was gonna look like a vest, but it's actually like a warmer like right neck. But I I don't want to say I'm like not the busiest woman in the world, but I know how to keep myself busy. Like I work like 36 hours a week. I'm married, I have a daughter. She's 10. We had gymnastics today. Took her to practice. Um, I have this goal of working out 30 minutes at least every day, so hence the warmer on my neck. Because I need to be able to do work when I'm like dentistry and stuff. So I will say it can be a challenge, but if you come in with like a positive attitude, and as Marcel said, communication and knowing the type of person you are, knowing the type of, are you someone who works better at night? Are you someone who works better in the morning? How do you want to organize? I still do quite a bit. I mentioned this a lot that I love football. I like to go into in-person football games. I like NFL, I like college. I might be going on Friday to a championship game in Atlanta. I don't know. It just depends. But because I know I want to do these different things, I want to be there for my daughter for her competitions, or I want to make sure that my niece got married. It's just life is gonna happen. So I just tell myself, okay, how can I make it where I'm organized enough where, I can still enjoy my personal life, but I can still do school. So I don't really think there's for me like there's just being too busy. I think it's you know what you're determined to do. Because what I will say is, in your cohort, you will find that there are maybe even people that are busier than you, like than you think. There's people who run hospitals that maybe are doing their work and listening while they're commuting. My commute is 20 minutes. I don't have, some people have hour commute, and everybody finds the time. And I will say, most of the people that I started with, we're all like finishing together. So again, it's different aspects, different times, uh, parts of people's lives. I think I did the busy part. I mean, I feel like I've said a lot. I'll let Mackenzie or Marcella do the part two to this question.
That's actually perfect. I'm gonna echo and piggyback everything that you said on the first part and go more on to the second part. I did not, I wasn't sure if I was someone that was gonna have like the academic talent to do a master's in public health program, let alone one at Berkeley. I knew it was something that I wanted to do, but Berkeley's the number one public university for a reason, and that comes with a lot of academic rigor. Full transparency, I was not someone that had a 3.0 GPA when I applied, and I already thought that that was going to knock me out of the ballpark. Of course, my GPA was a result of just a lot of other life factors and things that had happened during undergrad, but I think the biggest thing was, and this can tie into both the too busy and the academic, rigor part. I knew that I was going to go into this program and I was applying to this program to be intentional about it, as intentional, as motivated as I could be. And so that meant, when semesters are starting. So I would pull up the academic calendar when semesters would start. And I know that the weeks lining up to whenever the next term was starting, I knew that I had to prepare myself. I want to be present and intentional in every other factor of my life, but I know that I also have to be intentional with this. And if that meant planning ahead, dedicating certain times or minutes, sometimes even seconds to reviewing some of my coursework within a given day, then I was going to do that. Um, I think, yeah, I don't know if Marcella wants to jump in and add any more.
Well, yeah, I think you both have said it all. And something else that I would like to add just quickly is learn how to say no. If you're those type of people like myself, I always wanted to do a little bit of everything and go and it's hard. It used to be hard for me to say no. So set realistic goals since the beginning of your program, of your semester, and don't spread thin. And if you do, be very responsible with your time and have that discipline, like very top discipline and commitment. So that's the only thing that I wanted to say there.
I think we have one more a time for another question. So the last thing I would love to ask y'all is if if you were to give the perspective students like one reason, like just in one sentence, why would you recommend our program to them? Why would that be?
I know for myself, I said it earlier, like if you go to the other like programs, because they'll have sessions similar to this, and you really ask a lot of questions. This program really is asynchronous, so you can do your studying on your own time. But I just want to reiterate, but there's so many opportunities to connect in person. So I think that that is one of the most valuable things about this program because, again, you are learning the material and the curriculum, but that's just part of the learning. A lot of the learning comes from hearing other people's experiences, like their work experiences, um, what challenges they may have, what they're going through. I know there was a cohort member that was working for USAID, and just hearing like what they had to deal with, like like the last year. So it's just it's I think it's very important if you're going to pick a program, you need to make sure, you're going to be set up for success. And the way that this program is set up, I feel like it definitely gives you an opportunity to be successful and make those meaningful connections.
I am going to challenge myself to actually say this within a sentence because I can go on for paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, a whole monologue on why this program is just the perfect fit for anyone. But essentially, this program will equip you with the tools to create better futures for generations. That'll be my sentence.
Same as Mackenzie. It's so hard to say in a few words why this program is the best. So let me see. Okay, so I said it at the beginning also, like not only because of the academic and professional opportunities and excellence, but also because it really is a community that really helps you to flourish, to thrive. And I think social networks and social connections are like an important component of success, be successful. And one other thing that I would like to add, if I may, is like don't be shy. And I have learned that through the program. I have received so much encouragement. And thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you, Alice, for always being there. And it's just like don't be shy, reach out. There are amazing, there is just such a large network of professionals, public health leaders, great people to meet. You email, you call, you meet with them. There is a social impact innovation program. There are fellows of that program, people who are retired, leaders, community leaders, physicians. I did that, and I can tell you, how much mentorship and how much I have benefit from that. So do that, and great to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, everyone, for giving your perspective, just sharing and all the great details. But with that said, we'd love to hear from the audience. If there's any questions, I think this is a great time to, you can use the hand raise feature if you'd like. You can use the chat box, but we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions.